Swansea and Forest are separated by 18 league positions, but geographically 185 miles separate the Reds from the Swans. Rads vs Tristan 24. This is the FA Cup preview with Rads. What's going on, guys? Tristan 24 here and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today's video is a big one. It's the preview for Swansea vs Forest in the FA Cup 4th round with a special guest, Rads. As you can tell, guys, I've put the board to sub to Rads, so make sure you do. His link will be in the description down below, so make sure you click it and subscribe. What a great guy. So let's get into the video and see what both of us think going in to the 4th round.
Hello, it is Rads here. Fantastic to be on the channel. Thank you very much to Tristan for inviting me on. It's brilliant. Let's hope that during the watch along this weekend, Tristan will be the one with tears instead of me. But knowing Forest, it'll most likely be the other way round. But yeah, overview of the season for Forest. It's not been great, to say the very least. As it stands, we're 19th in the league, in the Championship anyway. Of course, not the FA Cup, and we aimed for playoffs, and the fact that we're not there is really quite disappointing. I think with 15 points of the playoffs, isn't it ridiculous? We are finally picking up form now, though, just at the right time to play you again. As it stands, I'm recording this before we play Middlesbrough in midweek, we are 7 games unbeaten, so you never know. I think on the form we're on, we could very well beat you, but it's a tough place to go, your ground, the Liberty, so I'm not sure how it's going to pan out. We'll get onto that later, but overall, the season for Forest, it has been really underwhelming and just disappointing. But we are finally starting to look good again.
So, here's a brief overview of Swansea's season so far. So brilliant, really. We're on course for the best defensive record in the Championship. And our attacking players are looking really good on the attack, of course. And on the whole, we are exceeding expectations. Because last season we got into the playoffs against Forest. We took their spot, of course. Forest fans, don't hate me in the comments. Please don't. Nothing harsh there. But hopefully you can make it this year.
So as for our Dangermen, I would honestly say it's Alex Mighton that you ought to look out for. And he doesn't always start every single game, but when he does, he is a really special player. I'm looking forward to seeing where his career goes. I worry that it's not going to be at Forest for much longer because he has got a lot about him. There's actually a clip on Twitter and YouTube, I think, of him completely mugging off a Millwall player last week in our 3-1 win against them. Fantastic. He's got a lot of pace, a lot of flair, a lot of skill. It's fantastic. I've literally just said that again, but we'll just go with it. Mighton's definitely one you should look out for. Loud Taylor's our top scorer with 5 goals in all competitions this season. He doesn't always start every game, a bit like Mighton as well. They don't always start, but I personally think they should be starting every game on form anyway. Graben, when he is on form, he's a real threat, and Lolly, but Lolly has been pretty poor for us this season, to be quite honest. So maybe not on form. You shouldn't look out for him quite as much this time. Joe Wall is fantastic, only I worry that he's not going to be with us for much longer. So yeah, they're the main players that I think you should look out for right now anyway.
So moving on to our Dangermen. Jamal Lowe is a really dangerous player. He recently hit form and just can't stop scoring. Andre Ayew, he's always a threat, and I will always believe he is a Premier League player. However, he hasn't scored since our Boxing Day win against QPR. So he's in a bit of a rough patch there. Connor Roberts and Jake Bidwell in the wing back roles. They've done really well this season, getting forward, getting crosses into the box, and reflects on that because together they have 8 assists for each. So they're really contributing from the wing back positions.
As for our weak players, I'm not really a massive fan of Cyrus Christie, to be quite honest. He's on loan from Fulham this season after, of course, we lost Matty Cash to Aston Villa. we're always going to have to replace him. And I was never really that happy with Silas Christie coming in. I think we could have done better than that, to be quite honest. He has had good moments. He's got a few good assists. I think we had a game against Wycombe where he put in a really good ball, and I think it was Luton away. He assisted both those goals for Taylor in those games. Brilliant. No, I think it was Yates against Luton, actually. But yeah, he's had some good moments, and he's also been a little bit lacklustre, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of him. Figueiredo, if he plays in the Cup, he didn't against Cardiff. I shouldn't say that on this channel, should I really? But Figueiredo, not really been at all good this season. One of the worst players this season, I'd say. It's a shame, really, because last year he was fantastic for us. Other than that, like I said, Lolly's not been on form, so maybe you should look out for him. I can't believe I'm saying that about, one of the worst players, but Joe Lolly on form is one of the best players in the league, in my opinion. But yeah, they're the main players I think you should look out for weak spots.
Our weak players. So this season we haven't had anyone who's consistently been weak or terrible, and our league position reflects on that, to be honest. However, Loney Victor Gyökeres, who we had from Brighton, which they recalled a few days ago now, if I had to say someone, he probably is the worst player that we've had this season. We've had a few recalls, but Victor Gyökeres, by far the worst. He just doesn't match our style of play, to be honest.
So from what I remember as a Forest fan against Swansea, since you've been in the Championship anyway, it's always been a bit of a tight game every single time. And apart from that 2-2 draw we had back in the summer of last year, it's never been that high scoring either. I think I do actually know, in fact, we drew 0-0 in your first year back in the Championship when you were relegated, of course. I think you've got a great chance, by the way, of going up this year, but that's not relevant right now. Of course, we then beat you 2-1 at the City Ground, which I remember we were really quite fortunate to do so. We weren't great at all in that game, and that season we finished 9th. And I don't know where you came, but it was roughly around about the same area in the league. And of course, last season we beat you 1-0 away in the last minute, which I'm sure you're not going to want to be reminded about. Semedo's getting the goal for us. He was on loan from Benfica. He's now at Reading this season. And then, of course, like I mentioned just earlier, 2-2 draw earlier on, later on in the season. And of course, that game was the game that we could have sealed the playoff spots, which you ended up taking off us, which I'm still not at all salty about when I say that. But yeah, and obviously you beat us 1-0 earlier on in this season. We were pretty terrible in that game. So just going over the fixtures, I don't expect it to be a thrilling game. I mean, Swansea away, the last 2 times anyway, at least away at Swansea for us, it's never been high scoring at all, 0-0 and 1-0. So I don't expect it to be much different. Swansea are on form, just like we are suddenly on form as well. You never know. I don't know how it's going to pan out, but we'll get onto that at the end of the video, of course. But yeah, that's probably how I expect it to go.
I expect it to be a tight game overall, but I do expect Swansea to dominate in possession and have most opportunities. I can see Forest having a few chances, but not too many. Overall, I can't see it being a big scoreline, but I do believe it'll be a close game, as it always is, between Swansea and Forest.
As for the history of the fixture, looking at stats, we have beaten you 24 times, you've beaten us 26 times, you've actually won more, and we've drawn 16 games. So it is kind of evenly matched in ways. You've actually got the upper hand on us overall. So, like I said with the last round of questions, how the game will plan out, I don't expect it to be that much of a thrilling game. I think it'll be tight either way, maybe 1-0 either way, a draw, and of course it'll go to penalties this time. Unlike in normal years, it won't go to a replay, which is probably a good thing, really. Yeah, that's basically the history of the fixture, really, for us. And one more thing about this fixture in terms of the history of it. It's the last time that Forest made the Championship playoffs, all the way back in 2011. That's how long we've been stuck in this division as a Forest fan. It's pretty painful, really. You actually beat us the last time we got to the playoffs. Did you go up? I don't know. You probably did. I probably should know that. But yeah, I don't remember that well at all. But you beat us 2-1 and the other game was 0-0. So yeah, that's not great, really, is it? And all those years later, you ended up preventing us from getting the playoffs. We have got a little bit of history between us, haven't we, really, in terms of playoffs?
So history in this fixture on the Swansea side. So second ever meeting this in the FA Cup, because the last one was 1929 when Swansea beat Forest 2-1. Of course, we have the playoff semi-final in 2011 where Swansea actually went on to get promoted. Scenes at the Liberty that night were insane. I don't want to bring that up too much for Forest fans, but we do have a lot in common. Right, to Swansea's FA Cup history. Out of our last 7 home games in the FA Cup, we've won our last 5, which is brilliant to be honest. Last season, Swansea lost to QPR 5-1 in the third round. Let's just not talk about that one. We beat Stevenage to get to play you lot. Otherwise, we could have been facing Cardiff, or you could have been facing Stevenage, of course, and South Wales Derby in the FA Cup. I don't think my nerves could have handled that, guys. So thank you, Forest, for beating Cardiff there. 2019 was recently the furthest that Swansea have got in the FA Cup, but we did get robbed to Man City 3-2 at the Liberty. I'm not too sure if you guys remember that one or not, but if we beat Forest, we would play in Man City or Cheltenham. Probably going to be Man City, but we won't cancel Cheltenham off, and we'll want to get revenge. But Forest would also like to have a go at Man City, so...
So my predicted lineup for the game, I expect we will rotate. Both sides will rotate, to be quite honest. I don't understand why we would go full strength, really, because it's the Cup, and especially the fact that it's against another Championship side. I think both of us, it's great that we've played each other so we can do these predictions and everything, and the watch along and stuff, but it is also a little bit disappointing that we're facing another team in our division. But as for our predicted lineup, I expect us to rotate. Honestly, I think you wanted me to name the entire team, but I just think we should just rotate, to be quite honest. In fact, I'll list the team against Blues that you don't want to mention about. We played Smith in goal, Jenkinson, Wall, McKenna, Bong, Arthur, Cafu, Lolly, Guerrero, Amiobi and Taylor. If we went with that team, I'd be more than happy, to be quite honest. Maybe change it in certain areas again, so rest key players that played in that game, like with Wall and McKenna, they're our main centre-backs. Maybe rest one of those for this game. And then someone who came in the last game, like Jenkinson, maybe play Christie this time. So just rotate again, but in different areas, and then other key players come back in maybe. That's probably what I would do, to be quite honest.
Right, so my predicted lineup then is going to be the formation of 5-2-1-2. We normally go with that one in the league. In goal then, I'll go with Freddie Woodman. Despite us signing Ben Harmer, could see him get his debut today, but if Freddie Woodman's in goal, I can't see anything getting past him. Left wing back, I'll switch it up from Bidwell to Ryan Manning's left wing back. Centre backs then, of course, we'll have 3. I think we'll go with Brandon Cooper. We recalled him from Newport County. Carl Norton, I'll give him the captain's armband as well. Really experienced guy he is. And the final centre back I'll go with is Joel Latabidier. If you don't know how to say his name, just call him Joel like I did before. Right wing back then, I'll probably go with Connor Roberts. He does a really good role there, really good job there, and he will do as well if he plays against Forest on Saturday. 2 centre mids then, I'll go with Corey Smith and George Byers. He's played against Stevenage in the Cup in the third round after coming back from injury since the end of last season. So Byers, he needs game time, and I think he'll start against Forest. In the cam position, I'll go with Jan Dander. We've had Casey Palmer and Morgan Gibbs-White recalled by their clubs, but I think Jan Dander does a brilliant job there, and I think he'll start there. Now, our 2 strikers, I'll go with Liam Cullen, the youngster. I think he'll get a start, but I wouldn't be surprised if Andre Ayew got a start, but I think might rest him. And the second striker I'll go with is Jamal Lowe, the guy who cannot stop scoring. So, Forest defenders, I'd look out if he is starting on Saturday, because he loves a goal.
Swansea. I'm Derek. Well, tight as you like. The teams are ready to have a go at each other again. Here's Roberts. Can he make it count? There it is. Two to the good now, and that gives them a buffer. Myers. Dandermen. A glorious chance. Here it is, Jack, to begin with. It's going to end up being productive for them. And they've reduced the arrears. You never know. They still believe in themselves.
So the big one, as for my prediction for the game, like I said earlier, I don't expect it to be really high scoring or too thrilling, to be honest. Obviously, the last two times that we've gone to your ground, it has been low scoring, 0-0 and 1-0, like I said. So I expect it. I honestly, even though we're on form, I honestly think you're the favourites because, for God's sake, you're second in the league. You know, you're a quality side. You beat us earlier on in the season as well, but that was when we were pretty terrible. I'm going to make it dramatic. I think on form we can get a result, but I also think we won't because you're too good. So I think it's going to be a draw. I can't predict us to lose, can I? I think it's going to be a draw and we're going to beat you on penalties. There, I said it. Thanks very much for having me on the channel, by the way, Tristan. And yeah, if you want to come and check out my channel, Rads, I'll massively appreciate it. And yeah, you Reds.
Right, so my prediction for the game is going to be a 2-0 Swansea win. I do believe that we will win it, hopefully anyway, but it is the Cup, so you never know. Forest could cause an upset here. Although it is a championship tie, so it's not going to be a big upset, but it would still be an upset as they are lower down the table and quite a lot than us. So that's going to be my prediction. I do believe me and Rads are going to be doing a watch along for it, so make sure you check that out. Thank you all very much for watching that, and thanks Rads for being in the video. Really appreciate it, mate. And guys, we're going to be doing a watch along hopefully on my channel and on Rads' channel. We're going to somehow make it on both. So Saturday, make sure you're there. The big game. Swans vs Forest. Hopefully Swans can get the win, but hopefully we don't batter them because that won't be very nice to see on stream for Rads. But anyway guys, thank you all very much for watching and I'll see you in the next one very soon. Till then, stay safe everyone. Goodbye. Upper Swans.